Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Carole Baskin from Big Cat Rescue, and I have a little update on how things are going here after COVID-19. Well, I apologize for being all wet and windblown, but there are some things that have not changed since COVID-19 rocked our world, and one of those things that has not changed is that we still have to deal with hurricanes. Right now, we've got Hurricane Laura out there in the Gulf, and I am thinking about the people in Louisiana and Texas who are going to take the brunt of this. But of course, we're catching all of these bands off of the end of it that are just whipping things around and breaking off branches and flooding and all of that. Meanwhile, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. Here we are. It's currently August 26th of 2020. And it's 5 months after we have closed the sanctuary due to COVID-19 and the double impact of the negative impact from the Netflix show Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. And I thought I would show you a little of how things look today and how that's different from how they were in March the 14th of 2020. I'm reminded of the song Signs. Everywhere you see a sign, don't do this, don't do that, buddy, you should read the signs. All of these signs trying to keep people from coming down here and gathering at our front gate because we don't know what their intentions are. We don't know if they are here because they believed the lies they were told in Tiger King, or if they are just looking to see if we're open, which they could find out easily online that we are not, but that doesn't stop people from still trying to storm the gate and get through and have somebody make an exception for them. We are maintaining the entryway to the sanctuary so that it still looks beautiful. Before the sanctuary closed for COVID-19, one of the ways that we could recognize donors was through these bricks. And there's so many beautiful bricks. I really love this one that I just read. Time spent with cats is never wasted. People have so many wonderful memories posted there and on our walkway in. So part of, people have different reasons for donating, and some people want to have a sign or a plaque so that others see that they are supportive of our mission. And now that people are not touring, we were having about 27,000 visitors per year prior to COVID-19 and Tiger King. And so now that we don't have those visitors, we try to make sure that in our videos we are showing these ways that people are commemorating their loved ones and their pets. And we do the same thing out on the tour path where the signs are on the cages, trying to make sure that that's included in our videos that we do every day. I've stepped into our gift shop and our tour waiting area, so I had to put on a mask, which means sound is going to be a little bit muffled. But again, we try to work in these images of the plaques so that the donors are continuing to be noticed by people who watch our videos. We try to produce a regular video every week of the cats doing something amazing. When I say regular, I mean like you would see on a flat screen. And we also do a 180 3D video every week. These are all plaques of our cats and their sponsors. On March 15th of 2020, we decided to close our gates to public tours and private tours. And we thought that this would be a 1-month thing. We would just, everybody hunker down for 30 days, the virus would die out, and we could all go back to normal. But what we saw in April was that people were not hunkering down. They were not stopping the types of things that spread this disease outside of Big Cat Rescue. And as a result, things continued to get worse and worse. By the end of April, we realized that we were going to have to let half of our staff go in order to cut costs from the sanctuary. And so we had a staff of about 20 people who did administrative work, and we let half of those go, including my husband and I. We work twice as hard now, we just don't take a paycheck. This is the break area for the administrative volunteers. We have two sides to our program, the keepers and the partners. Partners were people who managed the gift shop, and well, they didn't manage the gift shop, but they handled the gift shop under the gift shop manager, and they dealt with our tour guests, which we don't have any longer. So this room doesn't get used a whole lot anymore. We have a keeper cafe on the keeper side that gets a lot more use since the keepers are here. This used to be a tour waiting area, but now it's pretty much barren. These steps lead up into the gift shop. We used to have a coffee bar and used to provide drinks for our guests. And of course, we don't have that any longer. We just did a little bit of work here at the front doors, so that's why some of the signs are down. We put in hurricane doors. This is a big wall of all of the in situ work that we do, saving cats in the wild. And the computer here used to have an interactive display where people could see the kind of work that we are doing. And they could punch around different parts on the globe and see different wild animals that we're saving. We're still doing some of that, but we've had to really cut that back. These are the augmented reality posters. Something that I find interesting is here we are in August of 2020, and Big Cat Rescue is still listed as number 3 of the most popular things to do in Tampa out of 157 things to do in Tampa. And that's without us even being open. But that's because we are doing a lot of virtual stuff, and that has helped us offset some of the losses. By being closed to the public, we are losing about 30% of our revenue. It costs us $3.5 million per year to take care of the cats and to operate all of the things that are critical to our mission. And so losing a third of that it's substantial. This is about 3,000 square feet, so we keep the lights off to try and conserve on our energy bills, since there is no money coming from the gift shop right now. All of the registers now sit empty and unattended. So sad. We had such a beautiful gift shop and so many incredible volunteers helping all of our guests find exactly the right thing. We had this big area here that we used for helping people call their members of Congress at the end of our tours, but now we're using it for shipping since all of our sales are now being done online. So what we've had to do is cut costs in every way that we possibly could, with the exception of the animal care. Our animal care has always been done by volunteers and interns. We have never paid people to do animal care because people will do that sort of work for free just to be around the animals. And I think it creates a better environment for the animals when the people taking care of them are doing it from their heart and not from a paycheck. We have extensive training that they have to go through in order to take care of the animals that includes 50 classes and 2 years of experience taking care of our bobcats, servals, and lynx before a person can graduate to take care of cats like lions and tigers and leopards and jaguar. So I know that the animal care is being done by people who are professionally trained and who are doing it because they love the animals. And thankfully, none of that has been diminished at all by COVID-19. Because of the fact that so many people are out of jobs, they are still able to volunteer. And because of the fact that most of our work is being done outside, it enables our volunteers and interns to work in a safe environment where they can stay socially distanced, and they're still, because the cats can contract COVID-19, having to wear masks. And if you can imagine how difficult it is to take care of 50 big cats when it's 98 degrees outside and the humidity is so high that you think you're drowning anyway, and then to do that with a mask on and all of the protective gear that we wear, it is an absolute miracle that people show up every day to do it, but they do because they love the animals. And so we have been so blessed in that regard. How is COVID-19 affecting each one of you guys? I'd like for everybody to go around the room and just give a sentence or two of how COVID-19 is affecting your work at the sanctuary. Okay, Erin, let's hear it.
I'm really worried that either everybody that volunteers for us is going to get sick, or they are going to have family that gets sick, or they're going to panic and they're going to stop coming in.
That's a huge scare.
Yep.
Go ahead, Gail.
Well, for me, it prompted the move from working from home up to the gift shop so that someone could be in the gift shop all the time to let people in the front gate and that kind of thing. So that was kind of my way of helping out a little bit extra on the sanctuary.
Lauren.
So COVID has essentially redefined my whole job. I pretty much now, with conservation projects, obviously due to less funding, we're not able to donate as much to projects in the wild. We still do monthly donations, but they're a lot smaller. So my focus now has moved more to 3D video and online ways of reaching people. So yeah.
And I think that's going to be the way of the future. It just kind of forced us there. Brittany.
I personally feel busier than ever because so many of our supporters are either stuck at home or their entire, lives have changed. They are craving so much online content. We could be live 24/7 and they would eat it up. So, and that's really wonderful because, I was worried about losing donors and donations and sponsors and things like that, and they've just really come through. But they're sitting at home desperate to see the cats and feel some kind of normalcy. So the lives are really huge, and trying to again find ways to virtually show and keep them connected to the cats since they can't physically be here. And same thing with the online stores. People are really excited when we put new things out there because they're online shopping, because they're not going physically to shop at places. So it's actually really increased the things I'm doing. So,
well, you guys are also doing the work of, we had 20 people doing the work you guys are doing, and now there's 10 of you doing it. So you're all working exceptionally hard right now. On the merchandise thing, Cameo just recently added a shelf for us to be able to offer our t-shirts there. So I sent them to the .biz store for that. Katie, you lost your cat. You can't talk until the cat comes back. There we go.
That's my background.
I love it. You have an interactive background or a moving background.
Yeah. Right before COVID-19, I kind of came up with a whole new system for the gift shop and for everything to be green and do things digitally. And now we don't have anybody in the gift shop to use my brand new system. So I was kind of upset about that, but now everything is switched to digital and being downloadable, which is also beneficial in the same way. But it's been a learning curve too, to switch everything to being digital.
It was kind of prophetic that you got out there ahead of that with all that digital stuff. It changed over everything that we were going to be doing in the way of downloads, and it was like, and now that's all we can do.
That's it. Yeah.
Got something happened?
I can go really quick. Dealing with COVID-19 has made a lot of people have to cope with being different in their personal lives, but then here, trying to move forward with a lot of job changes and more responsibility, and making sure that the people that are coming onto property are being safe with each other and being safe with the cats. So it's kind of a lot of pestering people that masks are important and when it's appropriate to wear them, and same with us, and try to lead as an example for everyone else to make sure that we're doing it so that they see that if we're doing it, they should do it. So it's dealing with a lot of change, and not a lot of people are great at that. But it's just as far as coping and moving forward so that everybody stays safe.
And you guys have been doing a great job of that. Thank you. Allie?
Well, for me, it's probably been less of a work change since I work from home. Anyway, the biggest change has been Carole spending a lot more time here at the house, which has been just wonderful. And on the rare occasions when I do go out, because of my age and being high risk as a result, I've got not only the N95 mask, not the pretty mask, but I've also got the shield on. So I feel like I'm a Martian when I walk into a store, which I do very rarely.
How about you, Deb? Has it changed anything for you?
Online has gotten much busier, much busier. And I think it's like Brittany said, people want to stay connected. And so they're reaching out, looking for people to connect with. And so I'm getting a lot more messages and just people asking a lot more questions. And so it has really ramped up the amount of time that I and the rest of everybody online is spending.
Good thing you guys have so many things in place to handle that. You train so many people. Thanks. The thing I find the most frustrating about COVID-19 is that Congress isn't meeting the way that they were, and we are just so close to getting our federal bill passed, and it's like, would you guys just bring it to the floor for crying out loud and have a vote? It's just this close. And with everybody not being able to congregate, it's really worrying me that this could go on and the whole end of the year trail out and not get that chance to be heard on the floor. So thank you, everybody. Did anybody have anything else they wanted to add to that? Back when my husband joined our efforts in 2003, one of the first things that he wanted to do was to be sure that we set aside enough in the way of reserves that would work as a pension plan for the cats. At the time, that seemed like an absolutely ridiculous thing to even think about doing because we couldn't even afford to take care of the cats in a single year, much less put away any money. We had been losing money every year for the first 11 years of the sanctuary, and those losses had been funded through my real estate investments. But we decided that every dime we could possibly sock away, we would do that. And we have had wonderful donors and supporters who have realized the importance of us having that kind of a pension plan for the cats. And so we've been able to put away enough money so that each one of the cats that we have already committed to lifetime care will get food and veterinary care and shelter to the end of their days. That money is set aside for them. We would have to cut all of the expenses of the sanctuary, meaning we would have to get rid of all of our help except for maybe 1 or 2 people to come in and feed the cats. We would have to stop all of our other programs that are working to help cats in the wild. We'd have to stop all of our efforts to end the abuse of cubs being used as pay-to-play props. We would have to stop our work in phasing out the private possession of exotic cats. All of that good work, including all of the work that we do to rehab and release native cats who can actually go back to the wild, all of that would have to be stopped if we ended up with no money coming in and had to rely on the money that we've saved for that pension plan. I think we are unique in that we have set aside funds for our animals to make sure that they never end up having to be rescued or euthanized for a lack of planning on their part. We did not apply for any of the government-funded grants because those were not grants, they were loans. And I believe that whenever you take out a loan, you are committed to paying it back no matter what happens. That's why I don't borrow, I don't use other people's money, I don't do any of that sort of thing because I need to be able to sleep at night knowing that I can pay my own way, I can take care of the animals without owing someone else a payback at some point in the future. And so we did not take any of the government funds for that purpose. And it's caused us to have to make really tough decisions, such as having to lay off part of our staff and stop a lot of the things that we felt were so important to our mission. But we just couldn't be in a position of owing money. I don't think that COVID-19 is going away anytime soon. And when I say anytime soon, I mean in the next 2 years. I don't think things are going to do anything but get worse. And I hate to be even thinking about a negative future, but I have to be realistic when it comes to what's happening. And what we're seeing is there are increasing cases of COVID-19. People are not taking the necessary measures to keep from spreading the disease. In fact, they are becoming bored and doing things that are even more dangerous. One of the most difficult things for me is our donors and supporters contacting me and just begging to come out and see the cats and to have a fun day out for their families and themselves, and having to tell them, no, I can't put the lives of our cats and our keepers and all of the people who work here in danger because they want to come out and see the cats. So what we are doing is trying to bring the cats to them in virtual reality, in live walkabouts of the sanctuary, and we are dedicating a lot of time and resources to that. We've always been on the leading edge of doing things like a virtual reality game where people learn about poaching tigers, and that's now available in the Oculus store for the Oculus Rift. And by the end of this month, it should be available for the Quest and the HTC Vive and a lot of the other headsets that people have. I can't stress to people enough how much I think they need to go out and get themselves an Oculus Quest or a really good headset like a Vive and start taking advantage of the amazing opportunities that are out there for engaging with content, like seeing our cats so up close, like they are just right there, right in front of you, because of what we're able to do with cameras that we can't do with a physical person. So there's just so many ways that people can be enjoying and engaging and learning about these animals in virtual reality and through our live feeds. And we are offering more and more ways that they can do that. We are currently working with Facebook to do something really cool there, where you'll get even more opportunities to see these guys anytime, anywhere, and it should be a really good experience that we haven't got all the details worked out yet, but I think you're going to be finding it's going to be a wonderful opportunity in Facebook to see these cats. We're also every week on YouTube putting out 2 new videos, a regular video like you would see on a flat screen, or a 180 3D video that you can see in the headsets and feel like you're right there with the cats. We will continue to try to lead the entire industry in bringing these cats into your homes and into the schools and into headsets all around the world, where people can really get to know our cats and come to love them and care about the plight that they face, so that we can save them in the wild where they belong. We try every day to go out and do a live walkabout where people can ask the keeper who is giving the walkabout about the different cats, can make special requests to go out and see their favorite cats, and you kind of get a peek into what's happening at the sanctuary. So those are all happening live on Facebook, and then they are also recorded on YouTube. In case you are not a Facebook fan, you can see them on YouTube at our channels. We have 3 different channels on YouTube. There is our primary channel, which is youtube.com/bigcatrescue. We have these types of unproduced films where it's just live action, and that is at youtube.com/dailybigcat. And then we also have our VR offerings at youtube.com/360bigcats, I believe. And on Facebook, that's at facebook.com/360tigers. But if you search 360 and big cats or 360 and tigers, you're going to find Big Cat Rescue, because we're the only ones out there doing that. So for now, we are hanging in there. We are working twice as hard with our limited staff, and our animals are still getting the care that they need. We are dealing with some really big situations out there right now, with USDA revoking the license of Tim Stark and Jeff Lowe. And in the case of Jeff Lowe, he says that he has turned in his license, but these were some of the biggest stockpiles of lions and tigers and ligers in the United States. And now that they are being potentially closed down, then I don't know where those animals will end up. We are working with the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance to make sure that none of them end up falling through the cracks and that everybody ends up in a good, legitimate sanctuary where they will not be bred or exploited any longer. But that's going to take an awful lot of work and a lot of money. And we are all prepared to do that because this is the work that USDA needed to do. They needed to stop the horrible abuse of these animals, and I'm glad to see that it's finally coming to an end. Once the breeding stops and all of the exploitation of these cubs stops and the animals end up in legitimate sanctuaries, we're still looking at anywhere from 10 to, in some cases, maybe even 20 years that these animals may live in captivity because none of them who have been born in a cage can ever go free. It's not legal and it's not possible. It's not even feasible, despite the fact that the public seems to think all you have to do is rescue a tiger and turn it loose. That's not how it works. And so these cats will need someone to take care of them for the rest of their lives. And we are working with a group of people to make sure that happens for those animals. But the very most important thing any of us can do is to turn off the taps, stop the breeding. If you live in the United States, we make it easy at bigcatact.com. You come to a page like this, you fill in your information, it will find your legislators for you, and it will actually even dial the phone for you. And it gives you the little script over here of what to say when the usually answering machine picks up. It will dial your House representatives, you leave the message there, and then it will dial both of your senators, and you leave the messages there, and you're done. And the only thing to the message is, please ask your boss to champion the Big Cat Public Safety Act. It's that easy. They don't want any more explanation from you. They just want to know, are you for it or against it? We are for it, and we give you the little script there to say it. If you're not from the U.S. and you don't know anybody in the U.S. that you can hammer on to get them to make that call every week, then the least you can do is never pay to touch or see a captive-born exotic cat. That's always cruelty for them to be born for life in cages or bred for that kind of exploitive use. So please never patronize any of those places that are breeding animals for life in cages. And if you see somebody posting a picture of themselves petting a big cat or posing with a big cat or treating it like it's a pet in some way, which makes other people want to treat it like a pet, then call them out on that. Get out there and be the voice for those animals. That's what you can do right now to stop all of the abuse that's going on so that the animals who are currently out there can be rescued, they can live in wonderful facilities for the rest of their lives, and this whole problem will die out in the next 20 years. That's what you can do to help. Stay cool, cats.